what can you sell on Amazon? That is the question that I'm most asked. And in this video, I'm going to show you 4 products that I actually failed with. And really, it just depends on what you consider a failure. For me, they were a failure because I didn't continue to do them for one reason or another. I'm going to reveal those reasons and the mistakes I made along the way. Remember, my name is Hurricane Liz, and I've made millions of dollars selling on Amazon, and a lot of times selling the most unusual things. And this channel is about sharing with you those things that are extremely unusual, at least for me. So if you like it, make sure you subscribe, and I will continue to bring you this content that I think is awesome. And at the end of this actual video, I'm going to share with you what I just sold the other day ago that is going to literally just blow your mind. So stay tuned. But first, let's jump into product number 1 and what it was, as well as why it was a failure. Okay, so the product that I'm talking about that was just a total flop, and I mean, I hardly sold any, were Snowflake clings. So there was a number of problems with this. In fact, I sold so few, not enough to even make a blip on my actual stats. So I can't even show you how poorly it failed. But I will say this much, I really didn't invest any more than about $150. And I'll kind of show you what I did. I actually went to AliExpress to buy these, and they might even be in my AliExpress account. And I just checked, they are not, because I actually bought them off of my employee's account. So that's what kind of disaster they truly were. And I'll tell you what the initial problem with them is. If we actually go to AliExpress and we actually look for Snowflake clings, there's plenty of them. And now there's only one, so maybe they were called something else. But right here, Snowflake clings, as you can see that they sell them. They look pretty good. I mean, we bought them, and what ended up happening is they came in this like really thin film, and you had to kind of like peel them off. And since we had to divide them up because we put a very specific number of Snowflake clings on there, it was a disaster. We had to cut through them, so it looked like a completely sloppy job. The second problem that we had with them is that these actual products were very difficult to photograph. So we found ourselves photoshopping a bunch of images that looked just cheesy as you can imagine. So what we basically did is we still put it together, we slapped it up out there, and we wanted to gauge how it went in terms of sales. And we actually did run a PPC campaign. So let me pull that up and show you. Okay, and I pulled it up right here, and as you can see, it was a freaking total nightmare and disaster. We spent a whole total of $264 and $882 on these. This one went well, so then I just had this brilliant idea, let's throw some more freaking money at it, right? And it turned out that it went over 881% ACOS. We had 2 sales for $264. They were a total disaster. So that was pretty much strike 2. And there was actually many strikes on this particular product, and we decided just get rid of it. Let's just pull it back. Let's just throw them out. Let's give them away. Let's do whatever the heck we can. But this is just a perfect example when everything lines up. If we take a look at what it says on Jungle Scout and what kind of money people are actually making on these, there was a significant amount. And keep in mind, right now we're in mid-January, so the actual product sales aren't going to show as much. We could actually probably use market intelligence to show us more accurate information for what was happening during Christmas. And again, like I said, there was a lot of money being made. Some of them had as much as like right in the middle of the season, like tens of thousands of dollars in sales. Like this one right here is at $25,000. This is a 272 piece. This one's at 7,800, 3,900. So a lot of action was going on during Christmas, and it just didn't work out for me. And it's just a perfect actual example of sometimes shit will hit the fan and you're going to just have to dump it. So all in all, invested about 150 maximum and then 260 in PPC, and hardly got any money back. So that was a total flop. However, when there's a lot of flops like these, remember, there is also a lot of money in other examples. So let's go ahead and get to the second example for the second product that I sold that was what I consider to be a flop as well. And that product was a saffron extract supplement. And I can't even spell extract, which goes to show you, you don't need to learn how to spell to sell on Amazon. And if we take a look at the numbers on saffron extract, we're going to see that in general, even right now, 2018, I sold this back in like 2015, there's some decent money. Like this one, 4,700 came in, 27,000, 18,000, 32,000, 25,000. So some money still been made in this actual niche. In fact, it has a 4 stars and quite a bit of action going on. Like it almost even makes me feel like jumping back in because I still have a listing that has a lot of reviews. And so the reason that I stopped doing it is because I made several mistakes on this. The very first mistake was the fact that I decided to design the label myself and then even Photoshop it. So that took me weeks to figure out. I mean, weeks of watching YouTube videos, weeks of actually practicing it, just didn't work out. So that was strike 1. Strike 2 was at some point I ran out and then I just didn't want to devote any more advertising dollars to it. And I will go ahead and pull up my campaign so you can see that I actually sold this. And I'm also going to show you the numbers and the money that I actually made on this. All right, so I have it pulled up. It is blurred out, but you'll see here that I think I only ordered like 100 of these, and they all ended up selling. I think I did a giveaway with 25. I don't have the product fees in here where something small like $4 times 75. And in general, I made $1,300 minus those fees of $4 per bottle times 75, which I'll do that right here real quick. So we had 75 times $4, $300. So made $1,000 in profit, but still a total flop because I spent all that time photoshopping a stupid label. And now let's take a look at the PPC. You'll see that I just ran $168 worth. I had a horrible click-through rate. Thought I knew what I was doing. My ACOS is terrible, and I had 13 orders. So this is not really a bad ACOS for supplements, but still, it was just a total disaster. So I stopped selling that. I actually got into another one later on that did pretty well, which brings me to the third product that I actually sold that was a flop. And that product was fidget spinners. So if you take a look at the stats here, you're going to notice that while they sold, they didn't sell a lot. So let's take a look at the stats. Overall, over $2,900 in sales. And if you take a look at here, almost all the orders were organic and the fees weren't too bad. Neither was the product cost. Actually, the product was pretty low, but the fact remained that they kind of came in late. I sort of just got into the trend late and just sort of rushed into it without thinking. Christmas was coming and I was like, oh, this is going to blow up. And I'm going to just put my feelers out there and test a couple. And as you can see, the return on them was pretty good, but it was only 244, which means the other 1,800 or so I got stuck with. And as you can see, the ROI was pretty good on these in general. However, I still got stuck with 1,800. What I basically ended up doing is giving them away to charity and at least getting credit for that. However, it was a hard lesson learned in not jumping in on trends, which again, I tell you, you can do, but your timing has to be impeccable. So you have to be really careful about that and think, is something just like a super hot trend and it won't last that long? Or could something like a bamboo charcoal bag stand the test of time? Because right now people are more into the organic thing and worried about their health versus a fidget spinner. It's something that like a toy that a kid will play with and get tired with. So that was pretty much the end of my fidget spinner career, which brings me to the fourth and final product that was sort of a disaster. And you know what, actually, before I get into the fourth and final product, I kind of wanted to show you what it looks like when something turns out to be a disaster. So I went to Google Trends and I'm searching for the keyword fidget spinner. And what I want to do is I want to actually modify this search to the past 5 years so that we could see the absolute blow up that this product had. And as you can see right here, this thing just blew up. In 2017, around May, it blew up. And it just kept going and going. And around the time that I actually jumped in was probably around March when I actually started making the plan to jump into this niche. And really, we're on our way headed up. And it was probably just a little too late because we're already in this huge demand right here and this huge spike. And still, I jumped in blind. And what I ended up doing is getting the bottom of this because by the time the fidget spinners came in, they were pretty much toast. So again, this is how you use Google Trends in order to evaluate, is this product too hot? And sometimes you can never really tell. So sometimes it's just a guessing game. And so now I will jump into my fourth and final huge flop. And this product was Cellulite cream. And so what we're going to do is first take a look at the numbers. And for this, we're going to use market intelligence. And we're going to see how much is the average Cellulite cream making. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the actual seasonality of this product. So we're going to go ahead and use, again, Google Trends, which again is always a great tool to evaluate not only if you're in the middle of a trend, but also the seasonality of a product. And in the past videos, I've actually showed cellulite cream. So I'm gonna look at cellulite cream and I'm gonna look at this in the past 5 years so I can get a true idea of how this actually does year over year. And as you can see, this like down, up motion shows that this product is cyclical and thus seasonal, which means that there are certain periods of time that this product just sells better. And if we really think about this, what periods of time do women usually want to hide their cellulite? Summertime, right? Because they all want to get the bikini body and they all want to jump out there and get to the beach. Okay, so if we look at the stats on Amazon, we're going to see that there is a ton of money in this niche. In fact, take a look at this particular seller who's like crushing it, $243,000. And there's a bunch of people like that are absolutely crushing it, $168,000, and a lot of money being made. And the average review count is almost 1,000 reviews and monthly sales are 1,600 units. So not a smart idea to jump into this niche, but I was in this niche a long time ago and I've actually sold multiple cellulite creams. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually show you one of those products and then I'm gonna talk about what went bad and what went good. And in order to do that, here we have it right here. As you can see, here is the actual cream. In total, it made 36,000 sales. 846 of those were organic. I did order 1,000 units. And FBA fees were about $2,300 and then $5,200 in commission that I paid Amazon. And I did not put my production costs here. So let me do that and let's see the numbers after that. Okay, so the fees, I've got the fees on here. As we can see, in total, this sold for over $36,000 worth of actual product, and there was 846 organic sales. And like I said, I ordered about 1,000, and we could clearly see that the FBA fees totaled up to be about, looks like $7,000, and other costs. The product's cost was $4,000. With a PPC spend, this is all I spent on PPC, was $71. And in total, made $23,000 in profit for an ROI, a ridiculous ROI. And yes, the margin was high as well. But the reason that this didn't actually work out is because I partnered with somebody, and this was a partnership. And one of the things early on that became very apparent was that my partner was kind of a cheapskate. In fact, he decided that he wanted to actually create the label himself. And again, previous lesson, as you saw with the saffron extract, I at one point also wanted to do the label myself, but I learned the hard way, and I didn't want to repeat my mistake twice, that I no longer was going to do labels, but he insisted. So I allowed him to do so, and he did that, but then I soon found that he pretty much wanted to do everything himself. And that's really not the kind of business that I actually want to create. And so sometimes you got to just quit while you're ahead because of the fact that you and your partner's mission or the style and the way that you do things do not match up. So had to scrap this one and start all over. And good thing that I learned a lot about the cellulite niche, and that is why I continue to sell other cellulite creams and have a little bit more success with those. But it was all as a result of my first one. So you've already seen 4 products that I sold. Now let me share with you one extremely unusual product that I recently sold. Again, just to show you that you can sell this kind of crap on Amazon. Here it is right here. This is a Swanson chunked chicken breast. And just for chagrins, I'm gonna throw out this Shout Color Catcher 72 pack and some underwear. Those are 3 ridiculous things that I sold very recently. And like I said, these are the kinds of things that you can sell when you get started on Amazon. So let me know how you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions or comments, post them below. I always personally answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.